Yeah. See, in the previous session, we have discussed like this now, how to run JPQL queries. Okay. How to run JPQL query is a concept. So if I want to run JPQL query, first I need to create a query object. Then I need to set the values to the parameters. Then I need to what? Execute it. This is what the steps 1, 2, 3. What I told, if I use query object, I will get untyped results. So we are having typed query. Okay. For example, if I want to get only a single entity from DB, then I have to call get single result method. Basically, the other example, what I written yesterday, again, I'm writing here. The example, what I'm writing here. For example, I have a query like this now, string JPQL equals to. Okay, JPQL equals to from employee entity E, for example, where E dot EMP number equals to question mark 1. For example, I have a query in this way. Okay, this is my query. And now I want to execute this query. How can I execute this query? First, I need to create a query object. So query Q equal to what? Entity manager. In JPA, we have entity manager object. Then we are going to call a method called create query of JPQL. Then we need to set the value to the parameter. So Q dot, there is a method called what? Set parameter. And you can pass the value to the parameter, that is 1 comma. I can use either index parameter or named parameter, whatever it is, 7788. Okay, now call this method object obj equals to Q dot get single result. So call single result method to retrieve single entity. Okay, this method get single result method is called to retrieve single entity. Okay, so retrieve single entity, retrieves a single entity. Okay, so this is what I told. Two methods now, get result list and get single result. Today we are going to look at more. So thing is, I can use, instead of query object, I can also use typed query object. Okay, what I'm saying here, I just want to write here. Okay. Instead of what I'm writing is instead of query object, we can create typed query object. Typed query is another interface which extends query interface only. So basically what typed query is a sub interface of typed query is a sub interface of what? Query interface. Sub interface of query interface. Okay. Let's go ahead. So what is the advantage of typed query? The advantage of typed query is we no need to do typecasting. What a query returns is untyped results. Typed query returns typed results. Okay. Query object returns untyped results, which means we need to do typecasting. We need to do typecasting. Typecasting the objects into entity type. Okay. See, for example, I'm writing like this. Now, what I'm writing here, object obj equals to Q dot get single result. Right? What next I need to do? Employee entity E equals to typecast it into what? employee entity of obj. Okay, this is what we need to do. This is the query object. If it is a typed query object, then we no need of doing any typecasting. So first of all, how to create a typed query object? Generally we use typed queries only, not a query object. Okay, so how can we use typed query? This is a way, I'll tell you. Look at this now. I want to use typed query object now. Using typed query. See, string, what I am writing? JPQL, my query. JPQL query equals to, okay, what I am writing? I am writing entity from employee entity E. Okay, from employee entity E, where E.emp number equals to question mark. I can call what? Question mark 1. I can call like this. Question mark 1 I can call. Right? Where E.emp number equal to question mark 1. So here I have a JPQL query. What I want to do now? I want to run this by creating typed query object. Typed query of employee entity. For example, TQ equal to entity manager dot. I am calling in the next line. Entity manager dot create query of. My query name is what? JPQL query. My query name is JPQL query. So this is what I am calling. So here what kind of object I am creating? I am creating a typed query object. I am creating a typed query object. This is my typed query object now. TQ equal to what? Entity manager dot create query of JPQL query. What I am creating here? I am creating a typed query object. Next, what I want to do? I want to run this TQ. Set the parameter value. So how can I set the parameter value? TQ dot set parameter 1,7788. Setting the value to the parameter. Now, employee entity, say reference variable emp equal to TQ dot get single result. Now see the difference here. Okay, if you look at this statement, we no need to do any typecasting. No typecasting is required here. No typecasting is required. No typecasting is required. Okay, but whenever we are calling create query method, a small change here. I need to pass second parameter. JPQL query comma employee entity dot class. This is called result type. Two parameters need to pass to create query method. Now we can see. Now we can able to see how I am calling the create query method. I'll give spaces. Go through the code, then you will understand. Go through the code, then you will understand. Go through the code, then you will understand. Okay. Now what I'm saying here, in this line, what is not required? Typecasting is not required. Typecasting is not required. No typecasting. Typecasting is not required. Typecasting is not required. Okay. Typecasting is not required. This is how you can differentiate the query and typed query. Okay. Everybody understand now? Okay, guys. Typecasting is required or not required? Not required. No typecasting is required now. No need of any typecasting. We don't require any typecasting over here. That is an advantage of what query? Typed query. Okay. Typed query. Right. That's an advantage of typed query. So now, next we'll go ahead. We'll discuss. Okay. So there is no typecasting. So typecasting is not required. Let's move on. Now, for example, I would like to, okay, right. Now I would like to talk about if suppose my query is a update query or if my query is a delete query. So then how can I do that? If my query is an update query or if my query is a delete query, then how can I do that? Yesterday, observe here. Better I'll open typed query. If I open typed query, so if you look at the typed query, if you observe, there is a method called execute update. I'll show you the method. I'll show you the method. Execute update method is there. I'll show you that method. So what's the method name? Execute update. Okay. So what is the purpose of this method? The purpose of this method is to execute an update or a delete statement. Okay. So totally three methods you are supposed to remember. So what are the three methods you need to remember? One method is, okay, what are the three methods I'm writing here to remember? First method is get single result. What get single returns? Returns a single entity. Right? Or the second method? Get result list. Get result list. Tell me what this method returns. Returns a single entity or multiple entities? Multiple entities. There is a next method to remember is what? Execute update. When to call execute update method? Okay, to execute a delete or update statement. To execute update or delete. Okay, three methods you have to remember. Okay, right? One is get single result. Next one is get result list. Next one is execute update method. Execute update method returns integer. What execute update method returns? Integer. Let's see how we can write. For example, I have a JPQL query like this now. Let me explain how the JPQL query is. Okay. Right. Okay, good. So now let's see how to execute update or delete query. I will explain you. Now see here. For an example, I have a query like this now. String JPQL query, my variable name, equal to what I'm writing, update employee entity E. Then what set? E dot salary equal to colon sal or E sal, where E dot DEPT number equals to colon DNO. You know what is this colon E sal and colon DNO? Do you know them? Do you know them? What is this colon E sal and colon DNO? What are these two? These are called as named parameters. As we know that we can use two types of parameters in the JPQL query, right? What are the two types of parameters we can use in the JPQL query? One is the index parameter, otherwise second one is what? Named parameter. This comes under which category? Named parameter. It is not an index parameter, it is a named parameter. We can use both of them. So how can you write the named parameters in a query? By using colon. Okay, colon indicates that it is what? Named parameter. Are you clear now? Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. What I'm trying to say, I would like to say something like this now. Now, typed query. Typed query of integer. TQ equals to entity manager dot. I have a method called what? Create query. So the create query method I am passing two parameters. First one is my JPQL query. Second parameter is integer dot class. This is required type as a class object. Required type as a class object. Result type as a class object. Result type, this is called. What type of result we are expecting? Integer. So we should write integer dot class. Okay, previously, what type of result we are expecting there? Employee entity. Here you can see employee entity. What's the result type here? Employee entity, because we are selecting a employee record, means employee object. But here we are selecting what? Integer, nothing but how many number of rows are updated, right? The number of rows updated. Number of rows means integer only, na? Right. Update query selects object from DB or will update the records in DB. We know that it is going to update the records in DB. How many number of records updated? I want to know. Okay, nothing but what it is? Integer. So what is the result type here? Integer dot class. Now what I'm writing here? Integer, or you can say int also. Integer, your choice, whatever it is. Int count equals to, before I say int count, I should set the values of the parameters now. TQ dot, what's the method name? Set parameter. Set parameter. I want to set the value for the first parameter. What is the name of the first parameter there? ESAL. ESAL. And comma, value 54,000. Then again, TQ dot, set parameter. I'm setting the value for what? DNO, department number. I'm setting the value 20. I'm setting the value 20. Then what I'm writing here, int count equals to TQ dot, what is the method I have to call? Execute update. What's the method I have to call? Execute update. But one thing, execute update method can be used to execute which query? When can I use execute update? When can I call execute update method? To execute the update query or delete query. Whenever you are performing any updations or deletions, it must be done within a transaction. Na? So that's the reason why before I call execute update method, I should start what? Entity transaction TX equal to entity manager dot, what's the method name? Get transaction. Entity manager dot what? Get transaction. Then what? TX dot commit. tx.commit. Do remember why transaction is required here? We are doing updation. When you are doing updation, when you are doing deletion, when you are doing insertion. For insertion, for updation, for deletion, what is mandatory? Transaction is mandatory. But for selection, transaction is not required, no? Transaction is not required for selection, okay? Good. Good. So what are the three methods to remember simply? What are the three methods you have to remember? One is a get single result. Next one is get result list. Next one is execute update. Let us write an example for this here. We'll try to create one example today by all these operations. Once example is completed, then we'll go for the further concept. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay, na? Let's go ahead. You'll understand. And one more thing. For example, see, my requirement is, I like to explain. So up to this, there is nothing new. It is very clear. Like we are creating a typed query object. Instead of typed query object, we can also create what object? Obviously, query object. But query object returns untyped results. Typed query object returns what? Typed results. So there is no need of typecasting. That's an advantage of typed query. If I am using query object, what I have to do? Again, I have to typecast each object to entity class. Suppose my entity class is employee entity. What I have to do? Typecast every object to the employee entity type. But if it is a typed query, no need of typecasting. Directly we will get the employee entity only. That's a difference between what and what? Query and typed query. Next, for example, look at this. Okay, I want to write a query like this now. For example, I wanted a query next like this now. My query is, see, suppose I have a query like this now, string JPQL equals to, or JPQL query equals to, it's my variable name. Select e dot emp name, comma, e dot salary from, okay, from employee entity, E. Got it? What is the select e dot emp name, comma, e dot salary from employee entity E. Got it? Everybody following me? Right. Tell me, this query is going to select what? First tell me. What this query selects? Name of the employee, salary of them. Means what? Is it selecting all attributes? Is it selecting all attributes of employee entity or only some attributes of employee entity? Some attributes. Attributes I mean like columns now. Okay, only some attributes now. Right. Means what? It is not selecting the complete entity. Is it selecting the complete entity? No. Complete entity means complete row. Is this query selects complete record? No. Only what and what columns data of the record? Employee name column data, salary column data only it will select from the record. Am I right or not? Yes, this is called selecting the partial record. Selecting the partial record, not selecting the complete record. It is partial record. So obviously, see how to run this. I'll tell you now. Typed query. How to create a typed query object for this? Typed query of object array TQ equals to entity manager dot create query is a method of. So what is my query? It is in a variable called JPQL query. what is the result type? Object array dot class. Okay, why should I use object array? Because why I am not using employee entity? Why I am not using result type as employee entity? Why I am using result type as object array? Because it is selecting the complete record or partial record. Partial record means it contains how many values? 2 values. First one is name of the employee. Next one is salary of the employee. For every employee, it is selecting only 2 data, 2 columns data, 2 attributes. But the 2 attributes it's selecting for every employee. Name of the employee, salary, name of the employee plus salary of the employee, both will be stored into object array. This is an array, na? What is the first value in this array? At index 0. What object array at index 0 contains? Employee name. At index 1, salary, employee salary. So tell me if there are 5 employees in the database now. There are 5 employees in the database now. For each employee, what is selected? For every employee, what is selected? Employee name is selected and salary is selected. So that employee name will be stored in index 0. Employee name will be stored at index 1. Like that, how many object arrays are created? 5. Because how many records are there in the table? 5 records are there. How many employees I'm selecting? 5 employees I'm selecting. But for every employee, how many values I'm selecting? 2 values I'm selecting. Where those 2 values are stored? In object array. At index 0, what will be stored? Name of the employee. At index 1, what will be stored? Salary of the employee, right? So observe here. Now, I'm writing how to execute this. First of all, is this query contains any parameters? Like any index parameters or named parameters are used in this query? No, no, I am not using any. I am not using any parameters. No index parameter or no named parameter. If there is a parameter, set the value for parameter. If there is no parameter, then execute it. Okay. My question is, which method I have to call? You know 3 methods, now? Do you know 3 methods? Tell me what are the 3 methods you know. Firstly, one is a get single result method. Next one is get result list method. Last one is execute update method. Which one I have to call? Get result list. Why? It's selecting one record or multiple records. But is it selecting complete record or partial record? Selecting partial record, but selecting multiple records now? Yes. So I have to call get result list method. Means what can I write here? List of object array LST equal to TQ dot get result list. Guys, have you understood this concept or have you understood this point or not? Write in chat box. Please write in chat box, make it fast. Okay. Okay. Have you understood this example or not? Please write in chat box. Guys, make it fast, everyone. Just write in chat box, I've understood this point or not. Why I am using object array? Why I am using object array? That is what my point here. I would like to ask you, have you understood? Have you understood why I am writing object array? That's what my question. That is what my question. Okay, nice. Everyone, why I am writing? Why I am writing? Why I am writing object array? See here, very simple. To get in more clarity, see, this is your employee table. These are all the records you have in your employee table. I'm writing like a diagram. Now you will understand. Everybody will understand with the help of the diagram now. For example, these are all the employees in the table. Okay, everybody listen here. This is employee number column. You have the employee name column. You have salary column. You have department number column. Right. And you have the manager column, something like this. But from this, for every employee, What I am selecting? I am selecting the employee name value and also I am selecting the salary value. Only two values I am selecting. Like this, for every employee, I am selecting the name and salary. I am selecting. This is the name, this is the salary. If you observe like this, I am selecting for every employee only the name and salary, name and salary. For every employee, I am selecting the only name and salary values, but I am not selecting the complete record. I am not selecting the complete record. I am not selecting this complete record. I am selecting only the name and salary. What will happen now? This name and salary will be stored into one array. This name and salary will be stored into one array. This is an array. Now this array contains two values. This array has two values at index 0 and at index 1. This is index 0. This is index 1. Index 0 and index 1. Okay, index 0 and index 1. What will be stored here at index 0? Name will be stored at index 0. Salary will be stored at index 1. This is what array? This is what type of array? Object array. This is an object array. It is an object array. I am writing here, this is an object array. It is an object array. What is stored in this index 0? Name of the employee. What is stored in index 1? Salary. Like this. Like this. Now this is another second object array. It is another object array, right? And this object array also contains what at index 0? Name of the employee will be stored in index 0. Salary will be stored at index 1. Like this. For every employee, what and what I am selecting? Name and salary. Name and salary. So this is a second object array. It is one more object array like this. For every row, when we are selecting the name and salary, what will be created? Object array will be created. That's what I'm explaining. Object array will be created. Now what happens now? Whenever we call the get result list method, what will happen? It will return a list of object arrays. Nothing but what all these object arrays are added to the list. Now what your list contains? Object arrays are there, right? So when you iterate the list now, what you will get? When you're iterating the list, what are you getting out of the list? What are the elements you are getting from the list? Object array. That array contains what? Employee name and salary. You can print that employee name, you can print the salary. At which index you have the employee name? 0. At index 1, what is there? Salary. You can print the name and you can print the salary. At index 0, employee name. At index 1, salary. You can print on the console. We'll see in the code. This is what I'm explaining. Okay. Why it is getting list of object arrays? Why it is returning a list containing object arrays? Because we are not selecting the complete record. We are only selecting the partial record. In that partial record, what values I'm selecting? Name of the employee, salary of the employee. If my query is select e.salary comma e.emp name. If I interchange these two, left to right, right to left, then at index 0, salary will be stored. At index 1, name will be stored based on the query. That you have to understand. Got it now? Okay. This is what I'm explaining. Got it right? Good. Let's see in the coding part. Let's have in the coding part now. Okay. Right. Let's see. I will write one example for this. Let's write an example for this now. First, I want to create employee entity class. Okay, I want to check whether I have EMP table or not. So I don't have any table like EMP. In this database, I don't have any table like EMP. Okay. but I have my table in Oracle. I can use MySQL or I can use Oracle, whatever it is. Okay, I can use MySQL or I can use Oracle. Only the driver dependency will be changed. What will be changed? Previously, I used MySQL driver dependency. In place of that, what I need to write? OJDBC dependency I need to write. Apart from that, next one more thing also I need to write. What is that? In the persistence.xml file, I need to change the driver class name. I need to change the URL, username, password, and also dialect class. These properties I need to change. Where? In the persistence.xml. Now my current example, I am just connecting with Oracle, not with MySQL. Okay, here I have employee table. EMP table is there with me. I want to create an employee entity class. I want to map it with the EMP table. I want to map it with the EMP table. I want to map my employee entity class with only 4 columns of EMP table. With how many columns only? 4, just only 4 columns I want to take. Can I map like that now? Yes, I told already at the beginning of writing the annotations what I told. At the time of doing the mapping between entity class and the table, either table can have more columns or your class can contain more variables. I told already this pointer. You should be always okay. Remember the concept what we discussed earlier. What is it? We discussed like this. Either table can have more columns or entity class can have more variables. If your entity class has more variables, you have to make them as transient variables. What the annotation I told? @transient I told. If a table contains more columns, remember that that column should not contain not null constraint. That column should not contain not null constraint. See, I want to map my entity class with how many columns of my table? 4 columns. 4 columns. What are the columns I don't want to use? DOJ and MGR. If there is a not null constraint on DOJ column, assume that, or not null constraint on MGR column, then tell me, can I map my entity class with this table? No. Because in my entity class, how many variables I have? 4 variables. But in the table, how many columns are there? 6 columns are there. Which columns I don't want to use? DOJ and MGR. If there is a not null constraint applied on DOJ or MGR columns, can I do the mapping? No. But in my case, I don't have not null constraint on MGR column, because you see, there are null values are there in some of the rows. Nothing but what there is no not null constraint on MGR column, and even I don't have not null constraint on DOJ column. If you want to check it, you can check it with the description. Describe EMP table. Okay, I don't have not null constraint on DOJ column, and I don't have not null constraint on MGR column, but I have a not null constraint on EMP-NO, because EMP-NO is a primary key. Primary key is a combination of what and what? Unique plus not null is equal to primary key constraint, right? Obviously, I can do mapping now. I want to use Oracle as my database now, right? Let's go ahead. Let's create a new example. So I'm writing one new Maven project, and I want to name it as, okay, if you have EMP table in MySQL, you can do it. That's up to you. So this is JPQL application. JPQL application. Okay. JPQL application. Sorry, first I need to, sorry, not application name. I should select the Maven archetype now. What's that? Maven archetype pick start. Yes, I selected. Then I say next. Guys, now what is the name I want to use? JPQL application. JPQL application is the name. And what is the package name I want to use? com.ait.entity. Finish it. Finish it. After getting some messages, it is going to ask me why. What I should type here? Why. Build success. Build success. Yeah, let us open. Let us open pom.xml. Add all the dependencies. Just we are going to copy paste all our dependencies. That's all. We're just going to copy paste our dependencies. Let us copy paste all the dependencies into this XML file. Okay. It will automatically download through internet and we no need to worry. Done. Next step. I told under SRC main, we need resources folder now. Right click new folder. What's the folder name I have to create? Resources. You know that resources folder should be created. Once you did this, okay. Before updating, first change the Java compiler version. So what's the Maven compiler target versions I want to use? 11. I want to use compiler source and target versions as 11. I did this. Then I need to update this Maven project. So whenever you update the Maven project, you can see it change it to Java 11. Yes. And resources folder is created here. You know, under resources folder, what is the one more folder to be created? Meta-INF folder. Under Meta-INF folder, what we need? Persistence.xml file. So already we have in our previous project, we'll copy that and we'll do a paste of it. Okay. Now we have Meta-INF folder. Under Meta-INF, what is the file name? Persistence.xml. Now my entity class name is, what is entity class I am going to create? Employee entity. I want to change it. But my driver class, URL, username, these are all going to change now. What is my Oracle driver class name here? I need to write oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. This is the driver class name. Coming to the URL part, jdbc colon oracle colon thin colon @ localhost colon 1521 colon xe. What is 1521? Port. 3306 is a port for MySQL server. 1521 is a port for Oracle server. xe is the database name, like a test something you are writing in MySQL, right? xe. Username and password are different. Username is dialect class is Oracle dialect. What this dialect class will do? What this dialect class will do? It will generate the queries. Your queries, SQL queries are generated internally. So who will generate those queries? This class will generate the queries. SQL queries are generated by dialect class now. So what are all the changes I did? Driver class name, URL, username, password. Do remember this data. Okay, na? Right. Good. And nothing to change. This file is ready. This file is ready. Go to this class. Delete app.java file. And in this package, create one new class. What's the class I want to create? Employee entity. What's the class name? Employee entity. I want to map it with a table now. First of all, how to declare it is an entity class? @entity. @entity. Next, @table. What's the table name? EMP. I have my table name EMP in the database. Table name is what now? EMP is my table. EMP is my table, right? Next, @ID, private, integer, EMP number. But what's the column name? What's the column name? EMPNO. Column name is not same, na? So what I'm writing here, column name equal to EMPNO. Map to the column EMPNO. Next, I want to create one more variable, private string EMP name. Map it with what column? What's the column I want to map it? Name equal to what? E name. Yes, name equal to E name. Very good. Very good. Next one, guys. Salary I want to take. Private double salary. Okay, na? Salary. But I want to map it with the column. What's the column name in the table? Sal. Just only column name is Sal only. So map it with the Sal column. Okay. When column mapping is optional. If the column name is also same. If the column is also same, right? For example, private integer DEPT number. But what's the column name? DEPT NO. So map it with the column name DEPT NO. Both are different, right? Then define all the setters and getters. If you want, even you can override toString method also, right? So I want define all the setters, getters, toString. Let's go ahead with all these things. Right, okay. I want to get all the setters and getters. Getting my point? And I also want to override which method? toString method. toString method. That's all. Okay, right? Now you can see in my EMP table, I'll show EMP table. In EMP table, select star from EMP. Tell me in my EMP table, how many? In my EMP table, there are how many columns? 6 columns are there, but I am using only how many columns? Only 4 columns I'm using. Only these 4 columns I'm using, right? I'm only using these 4 columns. What about the remaining 2 columns? I'm not mapping. Will I get any error? No. When I will get error? If the remaining columns contain not null consent, then I will get exception. At the time of insertion, I will definitely get an exception. You're getting my point? Right. So can we map our entity class with a table which is having more columns? Yes. Can we map an entity class which is containing more variables? Yes. How to make the remaining variables as non-mapped variables? Make them as a transient variables. What's the annotation used for that? @transient annotation we have to use. @transient annotation we have to use. Okay, good. Let's go ahead. Observe here. Entity class is ready. Now I want to write a DAO. Okay, I want to create a new package. I want to create a new package first. What's my package name? Com dot. Package name must be in lowercase letters only. com.aat.dao. In this package, I'm creating new interface first. Interface name I'm creating employee DAO. What is my interface name? Employee DAO. Here I need to add the method declarations first. I want to add method declarations like this now. Observe here. Employee entity is return type. Method name is fetch employee by ID of int employee number or integer employee number. You can take either int or integer. Observe it. What is the return type? What is the return type? Employee entity. What is the method name? Fetch employee by ID based on employee number. Give the employee number as an input to the method. Method returns employee entity. That's the first method meaning. Second method meaning a list of employee entities. A list of employee entity. Fetch employees. So tell me what this method will do. It will fetch only the employee by ID, means by primary key, by employee number, or all employees. All employees. What's the method name? Fetch employees is a method. First one is fetch employee by ID. Next, one more. One more method. Last method I'm adding. List of object array. Fetch names and salaries. Fetch names and salaries. Tell me what this method will do. This method selects the complete employee details or only names and salaries. only name and salary. So totally how many methods I have added in this DAO interface? 3 methods. Now I should add DAO IMPL class now. Yes. What I will do now, I will add one more new package here. First, I want to get a new package I want to create now. DAO.IMPL. Okay, one more new package I'm creating, DAO.IMPL. What I want to create here inside this new class. What's my class name? Employee DAO IMPL. But it implements means add button you have to click on add button, type your interface name. What is your interface name? Employee DAO. So observe here. If I want to run the JPQL queries or any other operations, first we need entity manager. Entity manager can be created through entity manager factory. So tell me first what is required for me. In my DAO class, what object is required? Entity manager factory. How can I create private entity manager factory? Factory equals to, there is one class. What is the class? Persistence dot tell me, create entity manager factory of test. What is test? Unit name. Where is that unit name given? In the persistence.xml file. What is the unit name we give? Test. So that test name we are passing here. This is the name of the persistence unit. What's the name? Test. Very good. Now first I want to perform what? Fetch employee by ID. I need a query now. I need a query, right? To fetch an employee by ID, I need a query. To fetch all employees, I need a query. Fetch names and salaries also, I need a query now. Okay, I will do one thing. I will keep all these queries separated into one more class. I'll write. Listen. I will create one more package. I'll create one more package. Observe my package name. New package I'm creating. com.ait.constants. See what the package I'm creating? com.ait.constants. One package I'm creating. Inside this constants package, I'm creating one new class and I want to name my class as app constants. What's my class name? App const. Just one separate class I'm creating. Inside this class, I'm declaring like this now. Public static final string. Public static final string. Suppose I want to say query 1, query 2, query 3. 3 variables I want to take it now. Query 1 equal to. What's the query 1? From employee entity E, where E dot EMP number equal to question mark 1. It's my first query. My next query, public static final string. Why I'm writing variable name in uppercase? It's a constant. Constant variables we write in Java in uppercase letters, right? I know, I think you know about when you attended multi-threading, you know, max priority, min priority, you are getting an uppercase letters, right? Max underscore priority, min underscore priority, norm underscore priority, right? What's the default priority of a thread? What is the default priority of a thread? A thread default priority is? What's the default priority of a thread? Multi-threading. You attended, right? No, okay. That's the reason I don't know. Okay, right. Normal priority, that is called 5. Every thread can have priority in between 1 to 10. 1 is a minimum priority, 10 is a maximum priority, 5 is the normal priority. Okay. Okay, no problem. But why I'm calling it as constant? It's constant because I'm declaring it as a public, static and final. If you declare a variable as a static and final variable, we call it as constant variable in Java. Constant variables are static and final. If you write any variable as a static and final, you have to write the variable name in uppercase letter. Remember this point, okay? Static final variables must be in uppercase. That's it. Observe here. From employee entity E. This query is very simple. Why? There is no condition. I want to fetch all employees now. One more query. Public static final string query 3 equal to what? Select. I can select in uppercase, no problem. Select E dot emp name comma E dot salary. Variables names are salary na from employee entity E. From employee entity E. This is my query. Tell me, this query is for selecting only names and salaries. Totally, how many constants I have created here? 3 constants. Query 1, query 2, and query 3. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead here. My first method is for getting a particular employee. First of all, I need entity manager. How can I create entity manager object? Entity manager equals to, I'm writing shortcut EM equals to what I can write? Factory dot create entity manager. Entity manager, let me write. EM equals to, what is it? Factory dot create entity manager. Do we need a transaction here? Obviously no. Why? Because this operation is what? Select operation. For select operation, we don't require transaction. Which query I want to execute here? Query 1. In my constants class, I have query 1. Na? Right. Tell me, this is static variable, right? Static variable can be called directly with a class name also. What's my class name? App constants 1. What's the variable name? Query 1. So how to call this variable? App constants dot query 1. So I'll go ahead to my DAO class and here I will write typed query. I want to use typed query only. If I use just a query without typed query, then I again have to typecast now. Okay, I don't want that. I want to use typed query. TQ equals to EM dot, what's the method name? Create query. Getting my point or not? Create query. Tell me, what is my query? App constants dot query 1, comma employee entity dot class. That is a result type, semicolon. This is what I want to use now. Okay, this is called typed query. Getting an error. Let's see what is that. Cannot convert from employee entity to typed query of employee entity. Typed query of employee entity to entity. Just a minute. Do I have any spelling mistake? No. Employee entity dot class. Correct. Just a minute. Typed query cannot be resolved to a type. No problem. Just a minute. Okay, no error now. Just import statement is missing. So see the query again. Typed query of employee entity TQ equals to, what's the method I'm calling? EM dot create query of, what's my first parameter? My query JPQL query. Second parameter result type. What's the result type? Employee entity dot class. Which method I have to call now? Which method I have to call? Get a single result. So observe it. Employee entity E equals to TQ dot, what's the method name? Get single result. EM dot close return E. Tell me now, this query selects all employees from database or only one employee? One employee. But we need to set the parameter value now. How to set the parameter value? TQ dot, there is a method called what? Set parameter. I have only one parameter. One first parameter, comma employee number. See, we are passing that employee number as an argument now. This employee number we are setting at which place? first parameter place. Then we are getting the employee. Then we are returning that employee. This is called first method. What is the first method? Fetch employee by ID. Second method is fetch all employees. Fetch all employees. Here also I need entity manager na? Yes. Entity manager. Here also I need to create a typed query object na? Yes. But my typed query is okay. This is query 1 na, query 2 na? Query 2. That's the difference. Query 2. Okay. Now, do you have any parameters in query 2? No. No parameters are there. Directly execute it. List of employee entity. All right. LST of employees equals to my variable name. Equal to what can I write? TQ dot get result list. Why? Why get result list? Why get single result here? Here we are selecting only single employee, but here we are selecting multiple employees, all the employees. Then close the entity manager. Return this LST of employees. So 2 methods are completed. Coming to third method. Here also what is needed? Entity manager needed. Typed query is needed. Am I right or not? Yes. Yes. Let's move ahead. Okay, I'm keeping there. But here my query is query 3. But the result is not selecting complete record. No? Now tell me what are you getting here? Object array. Object array. Then tell me your result type is what? Object array dot class. Object array dot class. Very good. Now, do you have any parameters to set in query 3? No. If you look at my query 3, do you find any question mark 1 or question mark 2, something like that? No parameters are there to set. Then what to do then? Execute it. List of what array? Object array. Say for example, LST is my reference, equal to TQ dot get result list, EM dot close. Then return what? Return LST. Return LST. Return LST. That's all. Now tell me totally how many methods I have overridden here. 3 methods I'm overriding. One method is fetch employee by ID. Next method is fetch employees, means all employees. Third one is only fetch the names and salaries. How many queries I'm executing? 3. These are all what type of queries? These are all called what type of queries? JPQL queries. SQL queries are JPQL queries are. JPQL queries, right? Okay, very good. First, let us complete this. Then how to test all these methods are really working or not working? Main class. Write one more package now. Create a new package. com.aat.test. Inside this, I'm creating a new class with main method. My class name is test or tester. My class is a test. This main class is a tester class. Let us test it. First, I want to create object of DAO. Employee DAO. DAO equals to new employee DAO IMPL. Got it? All right. What the first method I want to call? Fetch employee by ID. And it pass employee number na? Yes. See. Employee entity EMP equal to DAO dot fetch employee by ID of 7788. What's the employee number I am passing? 7788. What we want to test now? Really whether it is selecting the employee or not. Print this employee. System.out.println of EMP. I am selecting the employee now. So tell me here this code. This code is for selecting all employees or a single employee? Single employee. So this is for selecting single employee. Selecting a single employee. Okay, first we'll run this code. No persistence provided for entity manager named test. Good. This comes with the no problem. Just a minute. We'll resolve the issue now. I'll tell you. With Oracle, we are getting this problem, not with MySQL. Sorry? For? Oh, correct. Sorry. Actually, I didn't add a dependency. This is MySQL dependency added. I need to change to Oracle driver dependency. This is MySQL driver dependency na? In my pom.xml. So first of all, this pom.xml belongs to which application? It's for my JPQL application, right? Okay, no problem. I need to change the driver dependency. We need to add OJDBC dependency. OJDBC 8 Maven dependency. Okay, this is what I need to copy paste. Click means copy and I can paste here. So which dependency I'm adding here? Oracle driver dependency I'm adding. Oracle driver dependency I'm adding. So I'm done. Oracle driver dependency I'm adding. This dependency is not downloaded. Missing this artifact. No problem. Don't worry. Let's go to local repository. C drive users, your username .m2 repository, Oracle, not Oracle, it is COM, sorry. Where is COM? Yeah, COM, Oracle, database, JDBC, and it is not downloaded successfully. That's the reason why we are getting error. No problem. com.oracle.jdbc.ojdbc8 so and so. Jar file is not downloaded. That's the reason why we are getting error. We can resolve it now. Whenever you are getting this problem, you need to go to local repository. Then you need to first delete that folder so that again it is going to download. Just make a small change inside this. com.oracle.jdbc, not JDBC. It is not oracle.database.jdbc. There is a missing the group ID. Group ID issue is there. I will tell you. Just a minute, I'll tell you. 1 minute. Database.jdbc. That is this one I need to actually add. Database.jdbc. This one I need to add. Control C. Okay, done. I don't have any error now. The error is removed. So I need to add, this is the group ID. This is the correct group ID. com.oracle.database.jdbc. What is the artifact ID? OJDBC 8. And this is a version 21C I'm using now. So driver version is 21. So and so blah blah blah. So this is Oracle driver dependency. Let us update this project once. Maven update project. So project is updated once. Let us run this application. Okay, now it is executed. See here, Hibernate executed what query? Select query. Select query. We are getting employee entity. See here, what is employee number? 7788. What's the employee name? Scott. Salary 4,000. Department number 10. Means it is selecting all employees or a particular employee. Particular one employee is selected from the database, right? Right, very good. One employee is selected from the database. Now I will go to select all the employees now. Okay, observe here. I want to keep this code in comment because this one we have tested now. What the next operation we want to test now? We want to select one employee or all employees. Selecting all employees. Tell me which method I have to call. Which method I need to call selecting all employees? Which method I need to call? Fetch employees, but which returns a list now. So what I'm writing? List of employee entity, everybody, list of employee entity, LST equal to DAO dot fetch employees. We are testing the second operation of DAO, right? Okay, we are done. Observe here, we are done. But we have a list now. Okay, later you will understand in Java 8, but currently I'm writing the statement, easy statement like this now. LST dot for each system dot out colon println. You will understand after learning Java 8 feature. Okay, this is to display each and every employee of list. Only just we know of writing for loop. For each is nothing but for loop only. You know already for each loop, right? That for each loop now we got like a method. Simply for each method. For each method equal to what loop? For each loop. You know, for loop is of two types now. For loop, normal for loop. For each loop, both keyword is for only. For each loop given like for each method now from Java 8. Okay, let us run this. Now you can see it is selecting one employee or all the employees. All the employees selecting now, not only one employee, all the employees we are selecting here, right? The second operation also working fine. 4 only. We mapped with 4 columns only, na? Got it? Somebody? Right. We are mapping with 4 columns only, na? Right. Only 4. Next one. I want to keep this in comment. This line also in comment. Okay. What's the next names and salaries now? What is the result? List of what array? Object array. LST or LST1 equal to. Can you tell me what is the case? DAO dot. What is that? Fetch names and salaries. Got it now? Then I need to display now. LST dot for each. It is not LST, sorry, LST1, right? LST1 dot for each. OBJ, we cannot write system dot out dot, but this is a lambda expression. It's a lambda expression. I'm writing OBJ arrow mark. Now system dot out dot println. Now system dot out dot println. OBJ of 0. What is OBJ of 0? Name of the employee. Space. Say comma. Again space I want write like this. Plus. OBJ of 1. Tell me what it display. First what will be displayed? Name. Comma. Next what will be displayed? I want display output as what? Name comma salary. Name comma salary. Name comma salary. I want to display like that. I want to display in that way. In that way. Okay. Let us run this. Let us run this. Okay, let us run this and see the output here. Okay, see the output over here. Tell me what is displayed here. This is name. This is salary. Name comma salary. Name comma salary. We are selecting only name and salary. Name and salary, right? You got the example for today. That how many operations we did? 3 operations we did in our DAO. What are they? Fetch employee by ID. It is for selecting one employee. Second one, all employees. Third one, names and salaries of the employees. That's it. Only names and salaries now. So when you are selecting partial record, you will get the result as employee entity or object array. Object array. That array contains how many values now? 2 values are there. First value of the array is what? Name. Second value of the array is what? Okay, where I created all my queries? Where I have created my queries? I have defined my queries in one more separate class. What's the class name I used? App constants class. Okay, inside that how many constant variables I created? 3 variables. What are they? Query 1, query 2 and query 3, guys. You got my point? All right. Okay, I'll post this example. You can go through this. It's continuation. I'll tell you on tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, guys. Have you understood the example? Everyone have understood the example in online? Type C or N, something like this in the chat box. I'll post this example, the document, both I'm going to post it now. You can download and go through the document once. Okay. Tomorrow we'll see continuation of this part. Okay. How to run queries, I'll tell you next tomorrow. Very good. Good, guys. Good, good, good. Nice response. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I will upload it today. The document, JPQL document, and also today's example, both I will post it. Then you can able to basically you can get it. Okay. Now, thank you.